I want to just talk about something for a few minutes. Well, I have time to do uploads because once I get busy, I don't have the time anymore. But when you are indoctrinated and hold on to morals and feel like you should, it's definitely a time to turn the other cheek. It's a time to hold them and a time to fold them. I think that's the old school saying. It's a time to hold them and a time to fold them. But some people just don't ever do anything. They just don't ever do anything. And that's not the kind of life you want to live, because what's happening is if somebody gets to keep crossing you and you try to find a way to say, well, just let that pass, let that go, and then you do eventually get over it. But see, what happens is that energy keeps coming back and it keeps coming back and it keeps coming back. Because the problem is it's not a matter of when a certain energy, and this is the energy of the person I was speaking of in a couple of previous videos. That energy of that woman is very familiar. Even though I never met her before, that is a familiar type of energy. So no matter how much you want to turn the other cheek and say, okay, whatever, okay, well, I don't like, here's the thing, I don't like making excuses for people saying, well, they must have had a miserable childhood or they must have been miserable in their life. No, that's no excuse. The people that they're attacking, how do you know what they're going through? That's a personality. That's a character flaw right there. Some people do, and it's kind of to me messed up to assume that anytime somebody do something that could seem nasty or evil towards somebody else, it goes straight to the assumption that they had a hard life or they must be miserable. Why can't they just be not born evil? Why can't they just be born evil? I really believe with the low frequency, this type of low vibration, people as babies are just born like that. Because it's a lot of entities from the lower dimensions that I've seen that can come through those wombs. If those ladies are vibrating very low and they mating with a man that's of a low vibration, these entities from these lower dimensions, they can come through that womb. And you have an evil devil doggone child. Okay, so it's not always a matter that they might be it's not always a matter that they might be miserable in their life. They're just evil. And it's no matter how much love they get from their family. A lot of these, sometimes they have all the kind of love and support. Everybody's on their side. All they want to. I saw a guy like that. His family is in his rooms sometimes, but he uses his words to get over on folks. Now, this is a guy who I definitely would call a narcissist, and he knows how to use his words to get what he wants. And if it's something about you he don't like, he will make sure that you suffer, even if you do jail time. Okay? And that doesn't mean that he's a miserable person. That means that he wants to get what he wants, and he's not going to stop until he has his way. Now, what it is I feel like there has, for the longest time, we have had duality, because I think we're coming out of duality. But I think most people are going more on that negative side, though, because of the acceptance of these kind of people. It's too much acceptance of wickedness, okay? Because there was a time when there was duality. I don't believe it's hardly any duality anymore. I just don't. I think it's more on the wicked side. You lean more on that side. And it's growing. I mean, it was a long, when I used to be a Christian, there was a saying, hell has enlarged itself. Hell has enlarged. Why? Why did hell enlarge itself? Okay. And I mean, that's just the word that Christians use. I know everybody have their own idea of hell. I don't want to get into that, because what was called hell in the Bible, calling things hot, that's not necessarily what I experienced. Okay. So I experienced something totally different, but I'm just going to say it the way the Christians say it. Hell has enlarged itself. Why is that? Why? Because it was a time where it was more even. It was a time when people were more awake, and you were leaning towards the truth. You were leaning towards the positive. So how the hell all of a sudden enlarged itself? Because we've been in the false matrix for a while. I mean, the fact that you fall into a physical realm means that you, like, really your soul is pretty much trapped into a physical type of existence. That is hell. That's hell. So the hell is not necessarily a physical place. It's like it's a state of being. It's literally a state of being. Okay, so you can be talking to one person that could be literally in a different dimension that you might be in, and you think that you're in the same dimension because you're talking to them and you can see them, but they literally might be in a different dimension, because the dimension has to do with their state of being and not necessarily a physical place. Even though you can witness all of this stuff, okay? But getting back to what I was talking about, I think I'm going to title this, some of the most angry people in the world are the ones with morals. And I'm not saying I don't want people to have morals, because the fact that some people just might keep some kind of morals might be good, but at the same time, I noticed that a lot of people who have morals, they don't exercise it when it comes to what they do to other people. They just have morals when it comes to what they feel like should be done for them. So it's like when they do stuff to other people, they know they don't want that same thing done to them. So they do have morals. They have it, but they have it when they don't want stuff, the things that they do to other people, they don't want it to be done to them. That's when they have all these morals. So people actually have morals. They just use it whenever it's convenient. But a person who constantly turns the other cheek and is kind of taught to like let things go, that turns you into an angry person. And it's not necessarily because somebody else is making you angry. It's because you spent too much of your life not getting what you deserve. You spent too much of your life not getting what belongs. Let me say it like this: when you know something belongs to you. Because what you deserve has to do with what you believe you deserve. You know what I mean? But not getting what legally belongs to you. Here, let me say it like that. Not getting what legally belongs to you. And when somebody else decides to take your birthright, oh, okay, well, I don't want to be petty. I don't want to be materialistic and worry about it. And so now constantly that energy it's like karma. It's karma. You keep turning the other cheek. And that energy going to keep finding its way back around again and again until it's addressed. So now I talk the way I talk. A lot of times it's because a lot of people like from Alabama I notice talk like this. And so if you're from somewhere else that people are like a little bit more calm, it sounds like we're loud and we're emotional and stuff like that. You know, when I came to the city, people always ask, "Why are you so loud?" And then when I lived in the city for a while, like lived in Cleveland in California, and then went back to visit my family in Alabama, I noticed my parents were like talking loud on the phone, like, "Oh my God, they're loud," because I've been to the city. And I came back, I saw how loud they were. Loud in public, on the phone, just talking loud. Like, dang, you are loud. And they don't even know they're loud. So see, you know, there's a different way people just kind of, from where they from. And sometimes some folks say maybe from Alabama, maybe they feel like if they put certain types of feelings into it, it gives it more drama. Like it gives the message more drama. Okay, so sometimes I know some people can be like that. Like they want to give the person that's listening a visual, and so it's like it's a little bit more stuff added into it to give people a visual, instead of the message kind of sounding monotone, you know. But anyway, yeah, that's it. I just want to talk about, you know, just constantly turning the other cheek and just like acting like, okay, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. And trust me, I've worked long enough and I'm old enough that I have said that myself too. But I feel like in that particular area, I woke up to the fact that that's not the way it has to be. People have allowed it to be like that because here's the thing with the wicked versus people who are so-called just, I'll just say the word decent. I don't want to use the word good, just decent, meaning they don't really bother anybody. Let me just say it like that. They're most of the time they try to be good humanitarians. Okay? Well, the difference is, The people who are evil are not so accepting of them, and the people who are evil would attack them like nobody's business. But the people who are more decent humanitarians would try to understand the evil person and not really see it as a necessity to have them removed. Let me say it like that. Not really see it as a necessity to have these type of people removed. I mean, this is what we see in the world right now. The people that's running the world, they don't have to run the world. You have a whole, and I'm talking about the whole, everybody in the world. They don't have to accept what's going on in the world. They chose to just say, okay, that's just how it is. When you have billions of people in the world, and you have like at least 75% of those billions of people that decide that that's not the way it has to be, then that's just not how it's going to be. Because then you have people that's putting their minds, that's having the intent, and they united on that intent that this is not how things have to be. Everything will change, and it don't have to be the way it is. So people choose the way the things are the way they are is because people have made a choice that it's going to be like that. Because it's really mental. A lot of things are mental, spiritual. So it don't really have to be like that. It don't have to be like that. And see, when, like I said, when you're in a position, it depends on where you are. Because part of spiritual growth is not necessarily ignoring things and acting like it's not happening and say whatever, it'll be over soon. Sometimes part of spiritual growth is addressing something that you have always ran away from. And this type of situation that I've talked about in a couple of videos with this particular lady who's the supervisor, that's like literally a situation that a lot of people run away from. That is a situation that I have ran away from. So sometimes spiritual growth has to do with, it's time to address it. And it's time to stop being afraid of whatever the outcome. It's time to address it. It's time to address it so that energy don't come back around no more. A lot of times that's part of spiritual growth too. But see, it's like really each person has to know themselves. Each person has to really know what's right for themselves. And you'll know the best way to handle it. Now, let me tell you something. I talk a certain way on these videos. I just talk a certain way. I talk, but when it comes time for me to deal with something, I'm going to be quiet and strategic. Okay, I'm going to be more sneaky with it. I'll be a snake. I literally will be a snake. I'll be a serpent. Okay, literally, I talk this way on these videos because I feel like because this is where I express myself. There's nowhere else for me to express myself. This is an outlet. That's why I don't call this a professional channel like some other people have. This is an outlet for me to express myself. So I'll sound in the way that I would never approach that woman. Okay, I would never approach her sounding like this. Because this is my outlet. Okay? When it comes time to deal with her, I'm going to be a doggone serpent. And that's just how it is. And I'm not going to feel bad that I'm going to be a serpent. Because anybody who's a Christian, even though I'm not a Christian, I mean, even Jesus said, the character of Jesus said in the Bible, be as wise as a serpent. Be as innocent as a dove and as wise as the serpent. Okay? So I'm going to be a serpent when I deal with her. But as far as making uploads, I sound the way I sound because it's my outlet, because I don't have anybody else to talk to. So this is my outlet, and a lot of people, do that. It don't have to be a professional channel. You don't have to have a professional channel when it's YouTube. Okay? Because if I have a professional channel where I want to get paid something, I'm going to have to be somebody who's fake anyway. If I want to get monetized, I have to be fake anyway. And then I don't want to be somebody to do a bunch of research and give a bunch of information out after doing tons of research. If I decide to do a professional website, that'd be something different. But right now, it's not the time to even be trying to get into that, because I'm addressing something that I need to address for myself right now. Okay? And right now, this type of stuff right here is something that's a major, that energy, a pattern. It's a pattern that keeps coming around. And I feel like this is going to be my last chance to address this the way it should be addressed. And it's not going to be in an emotional way. It's not going to be in an emotional way. Yeah, I have emotions when I make these kind of uploads because it's an outlet, but I will not have an emotion when it comes to the doggone professional environment because you will easily lose. Okay? You will easily lose. But anyway, that's it, and I'll talk later.